Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. So, another new host here on the F1 Fantasy Weekly show, and Stephen is brought in as the expert, and we're claiming him as an expert of F1 Fantasy because in our Brothers League that we started Bahrain this season, he is currently top and leads by about 100 points. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah, I don't mean to brag, but I'm pretty good.
He's pretty good there, so... yeah, puts the rest of us to shame. But, you know, in our F1 Fanatics League that we've only started since Spa, I'm ahead of you. So
yeah, it's not going well. Ferrari have let me down. More importantly, big man Seb has let me down.
I mean, you went bold. You backed Sebi Vettel.
Yep, I went all Ferrari.
You
team,
didn't even keep
Ferrari
some
Leclerc,
Mercedes in reserve.
Ferrari Seb. No.
Right. Yeah, I think someone might be a little bit bitter about that then.
Someone's getting dropped. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, we've gone into it without doing the usual roundup. If you are new to listening to this and you are new to F1 Fantasy and have no idea, so it's a bit like Football Fantasy, you can get to select 5 drivers who you choose within a 100 million budget, as well as within that 100 million budget you also have a constructor select, and then each week they score points and those points are collated, and whoever has the most points at the end of the season is the champion. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun, adds a little bit of extra spice in the race, because you could have, say, a Romain Grosjean in your team. Why would you? And be like, come on Roman, you can get a points finish here and you're going to score me 8 points in fantasy.
Followed by instant regret.
Why is the instant regret?
Romain Grosjean.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, Grosjean, if you hadn't already known by this year, in real life and in fantasy life, Romain Grosjean is not a pick for you to have.
Yeah, let's just say luck isn't always on his side.
No, poor Roman. Hey, but his luck could turn around as well as Haas now that they split from Rich Energy.
Maybe. New Roman.
New Roman indeed. Anyway, we should probably get on to reviewing the fantastic race we had at Monza this weekend. So obviously, yesterday our full race review podcast came out, but this is kind of like a race review, but obviously tailored towards the F1 fantasy side of things. So we'll go through the main big winners and losers of the weekend, and once we've rounded up the weekend at Monza, we'll also look at our F1 Fanatics Fan League and see, obviously the guest host came on F1 Debate Show last week. We'll update on how they are doing in the league against us, and yeah, I think that would probably then round off the show. Of course, as well, Kimi moment. How could I forget the Kimi moment of the week? So we are both going to select a Kimi moment of the week for us. Guys, if you're new around here as well, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification, and you can keep up to date with all our latest content. But yeah, review. Oh God, buzz. There's the phone going there. Obviously, just loads of F1 stuff. Probably is one of the F1 new stuff coming through. Anyway, big winners from the weekend at Monza. Do you want to take us through our big winners of the weekend in terms of points scored, Steve?
Yeah. So top 5, starting with the main man, the winner, Charles Leclerc, 44 points. Not doing too bad. Only 22.5 million cost-wise. So that is pretty decent points return in terms of value. Then number 2, we have Valtteri Bottas, obviously. It's basically following the race order here. Valtteri Bottas, 35 points. He's dropped down to 20.4 million now. Good old Valtteri. It's getting quite close to turbo range, isn't it?
I believe, I think it's around about 16 million, 17 million. Okay. That's the turbo range cut off. So he still would need to cut off 3 mil, and I don't think he's going to do that between now and the end of the season.
Well, with a 35-point finish, again, cheap driver, good points return. And then number 3, obviously Lewis Hamilton, 33 points, most expensive driver though. So, did you have Lewis this weekend?
I didn't have Lewis this weekend, so in a late switch of seeing Mercedes pace in practice, I panicked from Ferrari, and it proved a good decision. And I went, I'm going to keep Leclerc, but I'm going to get Mercedes in as my constructors and cover myself off, because I kept Bottas in over it anyway. Because, like you said, really, I mean, Leclerc and Bottas in terms of the top drivers are great value for money, but I feel probably when we come around to Singapore, Leclerc might be gone. In fact, I have already made that switch. I brought in Max for Leclerc.
Of the Albon, they're the 2 cheapest, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah.
Of the other 3, yeah. They're the top point scorers. Yeah, so Lewis Hamilton number 3, and then we have Danny Rick number 4, 29 points. Great turbo if you had him.
And sorry, who had a turbo Daniel Ricciardo this week?
That was me.
Oh, did you?
Juicy, what is that? 58 points?
It is 58 points. So
which makes him the highest point scorer if you did turbo him.
Well, at least you gambled on Seb, but you made up with Ricciardo. Yeah. So you can't get them all right.
Yeah. Okay, number 5 didn't finish 5th, but with the overtakes, I'm guessing, Alex Albon, 24 points.
And he was my turbo driver for this week, and I think Alexander Albon for the rest of the season, with his price remaining in turbo driver range, is probably your safest bet for turbo driver for the rest of the season, because it's another solid return. So that is 48 points, and I believe he scored 52 points in his first week in Spa. So that is
lots of overtakes.
That is looking really solid for Alexander Albon. Should we look at the top scoring constructors this weekend now?
Yeah, have you got those up?
I do have them up. So no shock here. Mercedes, if you had taken Mercedes out, the only time that it's probably really benefited you not to have Mercedes was Hockenheim, because that was carnage, and Spa last weekend. But Spa, they even matched the Ferrari, so Ferrari got 60 and Mercedes got 60 points in that. So Mercedes came in with a 68 points total this week, which is a massive 23 points more than second place. Is a surprise was Renault, and they had an absolute superb race, didn't they?
Well, with Danny Rick and Hulkenberg 4th and 5th.
Just
very good weekend.
Yeah, very good weekend on a fantasy perspective, and very solid return there. Third this is pretty much single-handedly Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, bar 1 point.
I mean, it literally is Charles Leclerc. It is the biggest surprise about the Ferrari points total is the fact that Sebastian Vettel hasn't minus the total this weekend, with how bad a weekend he had at Monza.
Well, if you just look at that, because Ferrari were joint with Renault on 45 points, but what's the price difference there? It's about 17 mil.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge. If you gambled on having Renault as your constructor and maybe went Leclerc, Bottas and Hamilton, you are a big winner this weekend, I think, in terms of those points. But I'm not entirely sure whether the points you would have got for Renault would have made up for the 33 difference. I don't know. It would have been a good choice anyway. Red Bull coming in at 4th position with 34 points. Another solid, pretty weekend for them. In terms of value for money, not great, just because both drivers finishing 6th and 8th. So in terms of cost effective this week, Red Bull was probably a pretty poor choice.
2 points up from Spa though.
Yeah.
But still, if you're picking Red Bull as your constructors, you're not At the moment, you're not going to get the top points, but yeah.
They might be a constructor to look at in the last 7 races, though.
Yeah.
Especially maybe like a Mexico might be a really good time to bring in Red Bull as your constructor.
Definitely.
And then rounding off the top scoring constructors was Alfa Romeo, and they scored 22 points, and at 8.9 mil, it just proves what a bargain Renault were with their 45 points returns, because although that is Antonio Giovinazzi pretty much single-handedly. Although actually no, I think Kimi Raikkonen somehow got 17 points, but I think that might have been due to the qualifying getting into Q3 points, and then obviously overtakes in the race from starting in the pit lane, so 20 to 5th, and he finished the race. So it is a weird one, because Kimi Raikkonen had a terrible weekend, probably his worst weekend for Alfa Romeo, and it has ended up coming out pretty well off it.
Well, it was finishing behind the Williams, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was crazy. So those were the big winners from there. So I suppose we probably now talk about the losers from the weekend. And I think the losers, you have to go with the guys who were minus points, and that would be Daniel Kvyat got a minus 11, which is really harsh on Daniel Kvyat owners, because I think Daniel Kvyat's been very good recently. Obviously, you had a big payout if you stuck with him and had him in Hockenheim. But yeah, I think Daniel Kvyat, I keep mentioning it now, I think I'm a bit of a Daniel Kvyat fan.
Yeah. After missing out on that Red Bull seat, I feel, can get behind him.
Yeah, you certainly can. He feels like one of the most underrated drivers on the grid. Also, Kevin Magnussen, what did he score, Stephen? Look.
No, I'm not sure.
I'll put you on the spot there.
Yeah. Kvyat minus 11. Well, I got it here somewhere.
Oh, it's coming.
Minus 11 as well.
Minus 11 as well. So the lowest score anyone got this weekend was minus 11. And I think that's slightly harsh. Well, I suppose it's mechanical failures. They are treated harsher than what Carlos Sainz got, which was a minus 6, obviously being the first to retire from the race. Obviously, all 3 were no fault of the drivers ourselves, but I don't know actually would Sainz's points of getting into Q3 actually I think comes into play, which is might explain why, and qualifying ahead of his teammate, why he only took a minus 6 hit as opposed to the minus 11. So those were, if you had those this week, they were your big losers, and especially if you turboed one of them getting a minus 22 on a Kvyat or Magnussen.
I just seen Sainz was 4th most turbo driver. So only minus 12, but 8% of people.
Yeah, chin up to you guys out there. That certainly wasn't a good return for you guys. Was there any other kind of big losers from there? I suppose the constructors-wise losers would be Haas. Not that I think anyone in their right mind playing this game properly, unless they were a huge Haas fan, would have Haas anywhere near their constructors. But yeah, they would be a big losers.
Toro Rosso as well with Kvyat.
Yeah, but and Gasly only got 11th.
Yeah.
But he did get 4 places made up. Yeah, they probably didn't score well. And
the main thing I feel we're overlooking here is big man Seb as one of the biggest losers. We're not talking minus points here, but we may as well be.
I mean, yeah. If you've got, how much is Seb? 30 mil?
No, I think it's dropped. Because his performances.
He's dropped off a cliff. Oh, poor Seb.
Let me have a look. 29.3.
29.3.
Not far off there.
I mean, forking out 29.3 of your budget and getting a return of 1 point this weekend. Yeah. How do you feel, Stephen?
Not good. Not good.
No, do you regret not back in Team LH44.
I went with Ricardo as my swap for this one, so he got me 58. I don't think anyone else would have got me more points. I think I messed myself up in Spa. Gambling. I wildcarded. I went full Ferrari. I probably messed up there.
Well, it's good of you to admit, and someone who is such a F1 fantasy expert, it is reassuring to know that, you are human as well. You are not a fantasy god.
Well, yeah. Just looking at who I can bring in, but yeah.
So, look, you see, there you go. It's already hurting bad. He's literally going through the fantasy app going, how do I get out Seb? Who can I bring in for Seb? I think it's probably Lewis Hamilton in terms of that. But we will see. We'll do our full kind of preview in terms of our Fantasy Weekly podcast next week. Looking ahead to Singapore. But I suppose now you've got it up. We look at the F1 Fanatics League.
Yeah.
Just a slight pause while we actually get the league up and see. We are well rehearsed and well oiled machine here on F1 Fanatics.
I got it. Okay.
Have I stalled well? Have we stalled well? Okay, we've done well. And so the early lead, I do share this on our Twitter as well, our kind of top 5. But as we're here, and as we've got a little bit more time, as we don't have back-to-back weekends, we can go through the 1 to 9 on our list. So number 1 is, I believe I'm saying this right, Tamako Playtech Superlife. Country is Finland. And he has an unbelievable team, and me and Stephen are still trying to figure out how he affords his unbelievable team. So, listen to this. He has Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Most expensive driver in the game. He's probably going to have to make cutbacks somewhere.
Somewhere, surely.
Somewhere in this team.
He has Daniel Kvyat. Oh, that's a cutback.
Yeah.
But he's a good bargain buyer.
Cheap. He's still he's in the cheap range, but it's still not cheapest,
Okay, yeah.
Not going mental with the cutbacks.
No, and
probably going to be some more later on,
Yeah, there's definitely going to be more cutback. Charles Leclerc.
Well,
we said he's a
cheaper Ferrari driver.
Yeah, you see.
You can fit those two in.
No, that's smart. Alex Albon.
Well,
I mean, he could have got him when he was 7.6 mil, still at Toro Rosso.
But,
he's made his profit back on him now, hasn't he? And Valtteri Bottas.
Valtteri Bottas, yeah. Okay, it's 2 Mercedes drivers,
And Ferrari.
He's probably going to have to cheap out on a constructor.
He's probably had to cheap out.
There's no money left.
No, there's no way he could afford Mercedes, is there?
No.
Oh, wait, he's affording Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Oh, that's happened.
That's Lewis, Bottas, Mercedes, Leclerc. And now he's got Albon out, Red Bull.
I mean, and Kvyat, who is performing strongly in Toro Rosso.
And he's probably going to have a couple of good weekends.
Bar the minus 11 points this week. But yeah, so I thought I've been doing pretty well with my team. So I've now moved up to 2nd in the league. But yeah, this guy is on just from Spa and Monza, if we go back there, 446 points from 2 race weekends, which is a huge fantasy return. So yeah, congrats to you. So my team of Ferrari scored a nice 210 points this week. We'll just look at the point scorers for the top 3 rather than going through everyone. So I've got a Bottas Leclerc, which obviously was a good return, 1-2 there. Then Albon, like I said, was my turbo driver, nice 48 points there. So top 3 row was very good. Checo Perez, I stuck my faith in him. It was obviously Racing Points / Force India have historically done well on low downforce tracks, and they continued that trend. A fantastic race by Checo actually this weekend. So a 21 point return there, which was very handy. And then Carlos Sainz, -6. He's just been so consistent. He's my guy who's been scoring big points, and a couple of bad.
No fault of his own.
No, and then rounded off with a Mercedes Constructor 6.8. So I've been happy. I've had a 200 point scoring, a 210 point scoring weekend. I'm like, I'm doing well here. Actually, no, sorry, I got 186 last week.
Can I just have a quick side note? I've just had a revelation.
Okay,
So
revelation.
this week,
Stay tuned.
I took out Perez for Ricciardo.
Yeah.
So, I've gained points there. But I just realised I could have just took out Phil and brought in Ricciardo. I would have worked out a lot better.
I mean, it would have done. Because you could have turboed him still.
Yeah.
Right.
A racing point driver. Oh.
I'm sitting here next to Stephen, and I feel like this revelation has affected him badly. So please spare a thought for Stephen on Fantasy right now. He is really struggling to come to terms with the fact that he had faith in Sebastian Vettel.
Luckily, we're only doing the top 3 teams, because then we don't have to look at my team again.
Oh, brilliant. And so third is the Death Eaters with Dominic from Poland. A strong 199 points from this weekend, again with that Bottas Leclerc double combo, but he also had Max Verstappen, which was not a driver who worked out well this weekend for him, but I feel Max Verstappen will certainly be a driver that's going to work out.
Well, yeah, if you look at that front row, Verstappen, Boss, he's got a couple of good tracks coming up. Charles Leclerc, the better Ferrari driver.
Yeah.
He's a good team.
And then Lando Norris, a strong 17-point return after beating his teammate in the race, with obviously Sainz retiring and getting that points finish there. So a solid 17 by Lando. 48 turboed Alexander Albon as well.
Good choice.
And then Ferrari as his manufacturer. So not good value for money there. I
feel your pain.
Yeah, I feel few people would have gone for Renault though. That would have been a very bold call. Yeah. I think you would have had to be a Renault fan to go this weekend.
After the practices, Ricciardo was the most turbo driver, so people were sensing the Renault power.
They were, but maybe just not the double Renault power.
The triple Renault power.
Triple threat. Right, and so that is the top 3 in the league. We will then do a run through. So in 4th place is Stephen's team, just a mid-table Ferrari team, and you are comfortably sitting in mid-table at the moment. So yeah, it's a little bit of a no man's land.
Of my own.
Then it is I, which I believe is Katie's team, who follows us there. There we go. So she scored 143. Her faith, her unwielding faith in Kevin Magnussen was not rewarded this weekend.
I respect that though. The K-Mag.
Force Lebanon Ferrari. It's coming in at 6th place with Heidi. 157 points. Not bad. Turbo and Kimi Raikkonen, which, like we said, Kimi having a bad weekend, but Turbo and getting 34 points.
17 points right there. And Turbo, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a bad. So he got the same amount of points as Lando Norris this weekend, which I feel, although Lando Norris didn't have a great weekend in terms of his standards, it's probably slightly harsh on him. But he did have the Renault manufacturer.
Yeah. What are we talking about? No one's going Renault.
Oh, no.
He didn't go for the triple. Go for the triple Renault threat.
Should have gone for the triple Renault threat.
Okay.
And moving on, we are really drawing out this league. Like, going, how can we have a lot of time talking about the league? This is it.
There you go. The Street King himself.
The Street King, Zach himself, only scoring a meagre 144 points, not staying on top of the Street Kings. Zach, we are disappointed in you. Red Bull does not give you wins in this incident. And then the F1 debate show. So Jordan and Lyle's team, well, it's better than their 57 points that they scored last week. So they're improving.
Yeah, I think the one standout thing from their team is the orange little car at the bottom.
McLaren as constructor, I know Jordan is a big McLaren fan, but in fantasy, it's bold.
They've just had a few reliability issues to get both drivers scoring big.
Yeah.
It's got to be cheap though.
It has to be, or would it though? Because they have been doing well up until then.
If you had McLaren, you could have like Lewis, Boss, Charles Leclerc and Albon.
Yeah.
Or you could also just have Mercedes, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then moving on to bottom of the list, Ashley was, I'm going to distance myself. Ashley was in control of the F1 Fanatics team, and we got 95 points. So again, an improvement from the 40 odd points. Sitting rock bottom of the F1 Fanatics Fan League, Carlos Sainz -12 because he turboed him.
Oh,
Not good. George Russell 7 points. Solid, but not as solid as... Well, he's a regular point scorer, but because of how the pricings work now, George Russell isn't as good as what he is at the start of the season.
if you just think about that, Russell, where did he finish? 14th?
14th.
7 points. Kimi, terrible race. Finished what?
15th.
Rock bottom or...
No, you finished 15th, just one place behind.
And then got 14 points.
Yeah, so it just shows on fantasy that qualifying performance is actually really important as well. Valtteri Bottas, 35 points, solid. Max Verstappen, no for this week, but probably good for Singapore.
Yeah.
Nico Hulkenberg went for the Ron Renault guy, but still a solid return at 21 points.
That would have been a good turbo.
It would have been a good turbo. Pretty solid. And then Red Bull, like we said, value for money, a pretty poor constructor choice this weekend. So yeah, 95 points. Not great, sitting rock bottom, but at least we are flying the flag higher up in the table.
Well, I don't know how much money you got left there, but probably got cheap out on... Well, who do you even get rid of in that team?
You get rid of George Russell and bring in Leclerc.
Yeah, but wait. I don't know how much money's there.
Or Albon.
Doesn't look like much.
No.
Looks like Ashley's just gone for bargain.
Ashley stuffed it.
He wants to keep some money for himself.
I think so. The breaking news revelation here. Ashley caught up in F1 Fantasy scandal, keeping money back and banking it for himself. We have managed to drag out, looking through the F1 Fanatics Fantasy League, rather well there. Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I hope you've
enjoyed... We didn't really touch on this one, but that's good.
Yeah, we don't want to touch on just the mid-table Ferrari Stevens team. He's quite keen to avoid that. It's okay.
Brush it over.
You paid faith in Vettel and he just didn't replay it. It's okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in the same boat as you.
Vettel's going bye-bye now.
That was bye-bye. I mean, that sounds quite sinister. But yeah, hopefully we didn't bore you with going through our league. So let us know in the comments whether you like us going through the league in terms of... I think it's quite good to keep up to date on that basis. I suppose, it's doing a top 10, but there are only 9 people in the league. So it's a top 9.
How can people join it?
I don't think they can join it anymore.
You know?
Oh. I mean, there is the league code, so I'll put the league code up on screen. It is 3FF, that's lowercase ff, 9C, 8D62E. And I mean, you would be starting...
Yeah, a couple races behind.
You can
match it race from race.
I mean...
See where you end up.
Judging by Ashley's record, you certainly can at least catch the F1 Fanatics team.
You can just search it. See who are the winners and losers for each weekend.
Oh, well.
Join.
Join. You may be the best one from Singapore onwards.
Look, you may somehow have a better team than... Lewis, Boas, Leclerc, Albon, Mercedes.
Yeah, if anyone has better than that team, 1 will be surprised, but 2, how? Anyway, yes, so that rounds up probably the fantasy aspect of that, and now it's time for the fun bit. We miss out the quizzes because there is only one quiz master on F1 Fantasy Weekly, and that is Zach, so we will wait until his return before the quizzes return. So we are going to go with our favourite Kimi moment of the week, and would you like me or you to go first?
I actually haven't got a Kimi moment of the week.
I will go first then
until Kimi.
Stephen...
Kimi as a whole.
Kimi
is my Kimi moment of the week.
Kimi as a whole, just having a SH*T weekend.
Yeah, what did he say after qualifying? Like, he didn't care. He wasn't involved. Didn't care.
Yeah. When he was asked about the qualifying debacle that happened, he was like, "I'm not interested. I wasn't involved." Classic Kimi in terms of he's just like, "I don't care. I weren't there. Why are you asking me about it? Ask somebody else who was there." All right, sorry, Kimi.
Let's hear your Kimi moment of the week. It's quite a good one.
Yeah, my Kimi moment of the week actually came last week, and I think this was a really nice moment, and why Kimi Räikkönen's just a really nice guy. So there's this story about this couple who were both on a Kimi Räikkönen forum and found out that they were just 10 minutes down the road from each other, and I think it was just last week they were celebrating their 2-year wedding anniversary. So yeah, Kimi makes people find love clearly as well. His talents know no bounds, and he shared it on his social media, and the couple also noted that he DM'd them as well, which was a nice touch, and I think he's had a funny caption of "Who needs Tinder?" So, you know, here at F1 Fanatics, I believe we're in support in a career, because his F1 career reluctantly will have to come to an end at some point.
At some point. Maybe when he's 60 or something.
Yeah, maybe 60. 65, I think the retirement age is pushed up to now.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair. He can now start his matchmaking thing to rival Tinder, and Kimi finds you love, or Kimi loves?
Kimi love, yeah.
Kimi love. We'll go with Kimi love from there. So guys, let us know in the comments how big a fan you are for Kimi love.
Kimi love.
For that. But usually we go for a funny moment from Kimi Räikkönen, because he is the comedic gift that just keeps giving. But we thought this was quite a nice story to kind of share with you guys as well. But that for today rounds up the F1 Fantasy Weekly. Hope you guys enjoyed as always. I believe we are one of the only kind of things who talk about F1 Fantasy. Maybe no one really cares, but we quite enjoy doing it, so we're going to keep putting it out there. I think Stephen will be regularly coming on as our F1 expert.
The F1 expert.
For the show. But yeah, guys, we have been F1 Fanatics. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and you F1 fans, keep racing.